In the heart of Boston's Back Bay, there's a building no one speaks of, not anymore. They called it the Crimson Hollow, a name whispered by tenants who fled in the dead of night. For decades, rumors clung to its walls, tales of a man who lived there in the shadows. A man who vanished in 2007, his body found with a slit throat, buried in an unmarked grave. But the tenants swore he never left. They heard him, in the walls, tapping, always at 3:17 a.m., long after he was gone. And the walls, they bled, a crimson stain that no paint could hide. What if your home, your sanctuary, was a lie? What if the walls you trusted were hiding him, a man the police buried 3 years ago, until Claire Mitchell heard his voice rasping her name at 3:17 a.m. through the cracks of her bedroom wall. And when they tore that wall apart, they found something that defied death itself, something that had been watching her every move. It was October 2010 when Claire Mitchell, a 27-year-old trauma nurse, moved into a cheap studio apartment in Boston's Back Bay. The building was old, creaky floors, peeling paint, a faint smell of mildew. But for $900 a month in Boston, she couldn't complain. She just wanted a fresh start after a brutal year at the hospital. The first 2 nights were fine. Quiet. Too quiet, maybe. But on night 3, she woke up to a sound. Always at 3:17 a.m. Always in threes. It came from the wall behind her bed. Not the neighbors. No one lived on that side. She checked. The wall backed onto nothing but the building's outer brick. She tried to ignore it. Old pipes, she thought. But the next night, it was louder, more deliberate. She recorded it on her phone, played it back, and that's when she heard it, beneath the tapping, breathing, like someone drowning in their own lungs. And then, a whisper.
Don't move the bed, Claire.
Her name. It said her name. She called her friend Rachel, a paramedic who'd seen her share of weird.
You're stressed, Claire. It's probably a rat.
But that night, Claire woke up with a scratch on her ankle. A single deep cut, like a fingernail dragged across her skin. The next night, 2 scratches on her arm. The night after that, 1 inside her thigh. Too high for her to have done it herself. She couldn't sleep. She moved the bed. Underneath, on the floorboards, was a faint, rust-colored stain, and a small, rusty vent grill screwed into the wall. She pried it open with a kitchen knife, hands shaking, and shone her phone's flashlight inside. The beam caught something. 2 milky, unblinking eyes, staring back. She dropped the phone and ran to the hallway, dialing 911. The police arrived within 20 minutes. 2 officers and a K9 unit. They thought Claire was overreacting, but the dog wouldn't go near the wall. It just whimpered, tail between its legs. They broke open the drywall with a crowbar. Inside was a crawl space, narrow, damp, filled with rotted wood and yellowed stains that smelled like decay. And then they saw him. A man, naked, skeletal, his skin so pale it was almost translucent. His fingers, bloody, nails chewed to the quick. His mouth, sewn shut with black thread, crusted with dried blood. He didn't scream. He didn't speak. He just crawled, like an insect, limbs bending at impossible angles, moving toward the officers in silence. One officer gagged. The other drew his gun, but the man didn't attack. He stopped, turned his head, and pointed to a corner of the crawl space. The officer shone his flashlight there. It was a shrine. Photos of Claire, taken while she slept. Her scrubs, stolen from her laundry. A toothbrush she'd thrown out her first day in the apartment. And a journal, its pages soaked in blood. The officer opened it with gloved hands and read it. She's perfect. She won't scream. Her blood smells like the others. Tonight, I cut deeper. Tomorrow, I go inside. The man collapsed as they dragged him out. Cardiac arrest, the paramedics said. He was pronounced dead on the scene. But the tapping didn't stop. Even after they sealed the wall. Even after Claire moved, first to Worcester, then to Providence. Every night, at 3:17 a.m. Tap, tap, tap. And then last week, Claire started sleepwalking. She'd wake up to find holes in her new apartment's walls. Holes she didn't remember making. Her phone recorded her one night, standing in the dark.
Don't move the bed.
The autopsy came back a week later. The man had been dead for 3 years, officially. A John Doe found in 2007, throat slit, buried in a pauper's grave. So how was he in Claire's wall? How did he have her things? Items she'd only brought to the apartment days before. The crawl space was sealed from all sides. No entry, no exit. No food, no water. So what kept him alive? And the question that haunted Claire, even then, if he was already dead, what was whispering her name? Because one thing the police wouldn't say out loud, Claire wasn't the first tenant to hear the tapping, and the tenant before her, she didn't just move, she vanished without a trace. Since that night, Claire was never the same. Traumatized, broken, she was taken back to her hometown by her parents. They locked her in a room in their old house, a room they swore never to open again. Because Claire, she'd started behaving like him, crawling in the dark, her limbs twisting unnaturally, her voice whispering things no one could bear to hear.
Don't move a bed.
And sometimes, late at night, her parents still hear it coming from that locked room. The terror didn't end with Claire. In the weeks that followed, whispers began to spread through her small hometown, a town already steeped in fear. Families in houses miles apart started waking to the same sound, that 3:17 a.m. 3 taps, always 3. They found no crawl spaces, no hidden men, but the walls in every home bore the same faint, rust-colored stains. Stains that seemed to grow darker with each passing night. Some say it's Claire, her torment seeping into the earth, spreading like a curse. Others, they whisper of something older, something that was never human to begin with, something that woke when that wall was torn open. And now the tapping has reached the edge of town, closer to you than you might think. What if you hear that tapping tonight at 3:17 a.m.? Will you dare to find out what's behind it? Subscribe for more true horror stories that will haunt your nightmares, because the next one might be closer than you think.